Hello everybody and welcome back. We are back on board with the FRS Online League here. Season 4 in Xbox's top division. We're taking a look at the track we're visiting today. Bahrain, 15 corners, 3 DRS zones, so plenty of overtaking opportunity and a pretty high degradation track. Here we are in the 4th season. We'll take a look at the calendars. We've got Bahrain this week, Austria next, and we go Great Britain. Monaco is going to have a special event with a different qualifying format and a shorter race. Belgium and Italy is the first of our sprint races, so we will have two 25% races as opposed to the full 50% race there. And a little bit further down the calendar, we have another sprint race at Coda, but we'll continue to go over the calendar as the season goes on. We'll check out the races, but here we are jumping straight into the qualifying session. So here we are out on the medium tire first. Strategy-wise, I wanted to make sure to save a set of softs for the race. So we've only come in now this season. You aren't able to select your tire allocation. So instead of being able to take 4 sets of soft tires into qualifying, everybody gets the same thing. Everybody is going to have 3 sets of softs and 1 set of medium tires for the qualifying sessions that you will then take into the race. You get another set of mediums and hards into the race that you do not have access to in qualifying, but you will have them available in the race. So it is all about trying to save that set of soft tires. So the amount of time that it takes to get around Bahrain here doesn't give you time to do 4 full runs as far as into the pits and out of the pits 4 times. So what I'm doing here is starting off with doing a double run, so carrying a little bit of extra fuel to do 2 laps back to back. We have just enough battery power in the electrical deployment system. We cross the start finish line with about 50% of the battery left, so we can do those 2 laps back to back. And it's just all about, on these ones, not necessarily setting a time that we think we're going to stun the field with. It's all about just getting our sights in, because one of the things I've learned about myself over the course of the seasons and in the running of the FRS here is that I definitely need to build up on my qualifying laps. I'm not straight out of the gate at great timing, so just kind of getting those first sighter laps in is going to be very important. You can see we're 1.8 seconds off of Pepmeister in the provisional pole position there on the soft tires. We ran 127.4. My time trial time, my absolute best is going to be about a 25.8 or so. However, it is definitely harder to reach that in a qualifying session as opposed to that time trial session. So really not looking for too much as far as it goes in the qualifying. Really going to be looking to hopefully just maintain race pace. But some mistakes through the opening part of the lap there. You can see our delta is in the red. We had a bit of a snap of oversteer through turn 4, which is a very slick corner and very tough to get right. So here we are coming out of turn 10 here, that long double left-hander, very tough corner to break down into. And we're just keeping an eye on the track map. We've got some cars coming up behind us. We just want to make sure that we're not going to impede them. We are on a flying lap of our own, so it shouldn't. We don't necessarily have to get out of the way of those cars, but we are on a slower tire, and we aren't improving on this lap, barring a tremendous final couple of corners. So running just about a 10th below our best lap time before. You can see the Alpha Tauri getting out of the way there. It's going to be it should be Jahan there. But as we come out of the final corner, getting the hammer down, you see we have a better exit than last time, but not going to be enough to improve. And so that is going to be the end of our first runs. About 12 minutes left in this 18-minute qualifying session. And of course, strategy-wise, you have to start the race if you're in the top 10 on the tires that you qualify on. Only 15 drivers on the grid this particular weekend. We do have up to 20 signed up, but you can see as we go out for our second run, now on those red striped soft tires, 8 minutes left on the clock there, and now you should see the delta time start to really drop down as we have that extra grip. So we'll see if we can turn in a good lap here and then go out for one more run at the very end of the session when the track is most rubbered in and try and get as far up the grid as we can. But as I was saying in the introduction, Bahrain is a high degradation track. It definitely takes a lot out of the tires. And so definitely going to have to be careful if you're starting on the soft tires. Likely going to have to either try and stretch very much and save that front left tire to try and make a one-stop work. But otherwise, you're going to see a lot of 2-stop strategies, barring any safety car running. But through the first couple of corners, you can see already, or through the middle part of the lap, rather, we're about a half a second up, almost 6/10 up on that medium run, and still a sloppy run that far.
I did my first 2 runs on mediums because I'm saving a set of softs.
But at this point, our race engineer Mahoney has joined the chat channel, so I'm able to speak with him now. And on the stream, you should be able to you'll be able to hear him, and also hear him a little bit in the background as I'm chatting away at myself. But we've got about an 0.8 nearly improvement, although we braked very early into that last corner, just not quite focused on the braking zone, and ended up just being a little too early as opposed to too late. And that's only going to give us about 0.6 of an improvement, and that's going to only go down to the 26.8. And considering it's about a second off of our best lap in the time trial setups. And in my practices in the Grand Prix mode, I was able to get down to about the 26 flats. So here we are, back out. Only 1:45 left in the session. A couple of cars coming out of the pit lane, but we should be able to find a nice open slot there as we go past the Ferrari and on the brakes into turn 1. Let's see if we can improve. We did have a bit of a shaky run through the start of Sector 2, through the S's of turns 5 and 6, but you see a bit of snap of oversteers. We're getting on the power there. Turns 1, 2, and 3 are so tricky to get the throttle down. Now, turn 4, open up the corner as much as you can. If you don't get right down to that inside curbing, the track is very bumpy, so it's hard to get the throttle down. Now, into the S section, you can see carrying a little bit less speed through the entry, but big gains as we had to lift last time on those softs through there with the with that outside curving. A little bit shaky through the hairpin. Not carrying as much track width as we possibly could, so we're going to lose a little bit of time there. And a little early on the brakes into turn 10, and just a little aggressive on the throttle there, and the back end steps right out on us. And you can see basically 0.3 of an improvement straight gone already. So we are now back into the negative of the deltas there. So we'll see if we're going to be able to improve over the last couple of corners here. And now onto the throttle through the final corner here, down the final little back straight, just about a hair up on our previous best, but we're much better into the braking zone of turn 14. Knew that was going to be a big gainer, but considering we threw away about 4/10 earlier in turn 10, and then only able to make up a little bit at the end, that is not going to be a great time for us. So you can see on the starting grid, Pepmeister, Brenschel, Backwash Boy, LC Fighter, QX Nemesis, Issei, Jahan, Habs fan Nick Invoki, and MJ Povey coming 10th, the defending champion. Then we have the trio of Brits, Stanier, Kem, and Cryptic right there, filling out the next 3 spots. And you can see us just behind El Gloverino, just ahead of DPT Paul. AWD Turbo Guy is the commentator for the streams, and somehow accidentally got put in a car, so he's going to have to retire himself. But here we are taking a look at the strategy screen. And the projected strategies that we're looking to decide is going to probably be this medium to hard strategy, unless we're able to save the medium tires, potentially stretch it out to a medium soft run at the end, though we will have to take the medium tires roughly 19 laps into the race to make those softs get to the end. Of course, Bahrain has a high opportunity for safety cars, but here we are on the grid. 5 red lights are up, just holding, and away we go on the medium tires. A tentative start, getting the power down a little bit better than El Gloverino on the inside, but we're saving. We're not using any of the overtake down into turn 1 as we just have a line of cars ahead. DPT Paul going up the inside, and we're just swinging right to the outside, trying to give as much space as we can, just trying to stay out of trouble at the beginning. And we've managed to get past El Gloverino, who was onto the inside there, and now Stanier and DPT Paul have gone past us. So we're still right there in that 15th position now. And that is one of the Alpines off into the left there. Cryptic F1 there. I believe it was Alpine over there. And a virtual safety car called already in this one. So just a couple of corners in and already under VSC conditions. Not the full safety car just called just yet. So that's going to just neutralize the field. That does give AWD the opportunity to retire the car on track without calling a full safety car there. But you can see just how slow everybody's going. And that delta time really going up. But here we are coming through the next corner, turn 10, and the VSC ending. You start delta jump from about 5 seconds positive to basically 0. So bit of a buggy restart there, but we're able to get underway, lose a bit of time to Paul and Stanier ahead. But again, early in the race, just trying to be about as cautious as we can, be safe. We're still in that P14 position now. And we'll see, we just need to try and work our way through. If other cars ahead of us are on that 2-stop strategy, we do have the advantage in overall race time by running the 1-stop strategy. It's a little faster to be running that 1-stop. So here we are now jumping ahead, lap 2, as DPT Paul has a bit of a puff of a lock up there into the final corner, getting ready to start the third lap. DRS is going to become enabled. We've got a good run already. No DRS needed. We've got the overtake on. Use that slipstream and go down the inside of DPT Paul into the braking zone of turn 1. We're just going to hold nice around the inside. Kem just ahead of us as we're getting on the throttle. And a big snap of oversteer getting on the throttle. The back end really gets away from us, and now we're in a drag race with DPT Paul down into turn 4. We're going to try and brake late. We've got to lock up the front end. Just doesn't go in, and we clap the front wheels together. And unfortunately, that just pendulum effect, a little bit of contact wheel to wheel, and it just sends us around. So a bit of an over-aggressive move. You can hear me in the back saying, shouldn't have fought it. He had the run on me, but jumping ahead now to lap 5, you can see yellow flags up ahead. In turn 12, we have a car to the inside. It looks like the white dot of the Haas DPT Paul. Yes, he's on the inside wall there. And there's also a spin from Issei and the Alpha Tauri up ahead of us as well. So a couple of cars running afoul of that turn 12, turn 13 complex. But no safety car or virtual safety car called for that one. But that is going to be DPT Paul into the pit lanes for a wing change. Same with Issei and Pepmeister also coming in on a pit change. We are in kind of the range for the two-stop strategy for those who started on the softs to go medium to the end. So that might have been Pepmeister coming in for a normal stop. I'd have to check back in with him, but that is going to net us a couple of places. And up ahead, there is yellow flags and a full course safety car called this time, as it looks like one of the Alfa Romeos is off just ahead, up ahead in turn 8. So now, lap 6 of 29 in this one.
I think it's early.
We could potentially have gone on to the hard tire there early on, but here we are deciding to stay out as the rest of the front of the field coming in to make a pit stop. Just now, the Delta is gone for us to catch the safety car, so we're dumping a ton of battery for straight line speed, trying to race our way to make sure we get past the cars on the pit exit, and we've managed to move up into third place by staying out on this one. So at this point, still committing to the one-stop strategy, still looking to go onto the hard tires around lap 13. With that spin earlier on from the contact with DPT Paul, really took a little bit of life out of those medium tires, so not going to be able to stretch them and go onto softs at the end. It could have been an opportunity to do so, but here we are with the restart. Now El Gloverino leading the field, gets away quickly. Brenschel in the slipstream. We are on the overtake button right up behind. LC Fighter in the Aston Martin closing up behind us as well as we get onto the brakes into turn 1, and LC all over the back of us. Very bright arrows there, but Brenschel, slow run through turn 2, and we have to kind of compromise our run, so we had an opportunity to maybe try and send it around the outside. We're going to have a little look to the inside, but no. After making that mistake, trying to overtake Paul on the third lap there, we are going to stay around the outside. We're having to use a little bit of overtake now to defend from LC Fighter, as we are struggling a little bit to get the front end down in this dirty air and, of course, the slightly colder tires. But El Gloverino on those hard tires from the start of the race has had a blinder of a start thus far, staying out so well and staying out of trouble, getting himself up into the lead of the race, with Brenschel now on those fresher medium tires all over the back of him. So we do have about a 7-8 lap delta as far as how much fresher Brenschel's tires are than ours. We're just going to try and stay with this group ahead, maybe potentially drop LC, who is on the hard tire behind us, try and build up a gap. We've got to try and make a little bit of space before lap 13 or so when we decide to come into the pits. We're still sticking with our original strategy. Unfortunately, because of the virtual safety car and the safety car, you can see in the bottom right that fuel mix. We're plus 1.7 laps now, and unlike the 2020 game, where the fuel modes, you could turn it up to that rich mix and burn down that fuel. With the engine mode restrictions in real life F1 coming through midway through last season in 2020, now the game reflects that, as we have a big snap of oversteer getting on the curb there. Just a bit of a mistake. Nothing really settling us there, but that regulation has trickled down into the game, so there's no real way to burn extra fuel in this one. You can't turn up the engine for the extra use on those straights, so our fuel strategy is going to be quite different. And now that the safety car is coming into play, we're essentially just going to be lugging around extra weight for this entire race, as we are starting to creep up towards the halfway point of this one. We're staying within that DRS range of Brenschel and El Gloverino so far, although they seem to be starting to open up a gap a little bit to us. Of course, 3 laps after that safety car comes in before the before the safety car is, or before the DRS is available to be used. Just like the start of the race of VSC, it becomes eligible right away afterwards again. But El Gloverino and Brenchel fighting quite a bit in front of me and just having good pace while doing that fighting still ahead as we are trying to save that front left tire. You can see 40% already on that front left. That's the one that really takes the punishment, primarily because of turn 13 that we just went through, and turn 14 and 15. You really lean on that front tire as Brenchel's going to go down the inside of El Gloverino. We'll see if he was just ahead as far as in the DRS zone, but no DRS. We'll see if El Gloverino is going to fight it back in the slipstream. Now the DRS has been enabled. Closing. Is he going to try and make a move? He's peeking out just a little bit. Is he going to be brave on the brakes? Not quite. So he's going to stay right where he is, and now we are going to be all over the back of El Gloverino. But he's going to have that DRS help off the car in front of him, as we are going to have the DRS off of him. So closing up, we are running, I believe, a slightly lower wing set on the rear wing than what El Gloverino is, and of course having the slightly stickier tires of the mediums, although we are hitting kind of a crossover point as our mediums will start to die off once they get up to about 40% or so. As we just saw, you're starting to really feel a bit of the tire deg, and once it gets up over 50-60%, that's when you really lose big performance over the course of it. But we're sitting here P3 of 14, a huge lockup on that front left in that tricky braking zone of turn 9 and 10. And that's really not going to help the tire wear on that front left. But we're really not in a situation where we're going to try to be managing that tire anymore. We're just going to be trying to push and stay with this group, because the field is still relatively bunched up a few laps after the safety car has come in. So when we do make our pit stop, we are likely to drop right to the back there. However, there are quite a few cars that are on those medium tires that are going to have to make an extra pit stop before the end of the race. We're only a half a second off of El Gloverino. Looks like he's fallen just outside of the DRS range of Brenchel. So now as we get the exit off of turn 14 and 15, you can see only about 4/10 away now. The DRS is open, that overtake mode, and big slipstream, and you can see the overspeed. We're going to pull to the inside, take that position off of him, and just hold the inside. Make sure he doesn't fight back around the outside of us. We're going to just swing it right, left, right to the apex, and make sure he doesn't get a run on us down this next DRS straight. We're going to use some of our overtake there, burn some of that battery in order to make sure that he stays right behind us, as we have now moved up into second place overall in this one. Now with a 1.3 second gap to Brenchel, who's on those much fresher tires now. Jumping ahead, you can see Brenchel has gotten away with us, and we are diving into the pit lane. We're thinking about staying out another lap, but Pepmeister and that group was closing on us relatively quickly, was going to basically put us in a position to have to fight with them down into turn 1. So decided to make the pit stop now right in the window and come in as MJ Povey is into the pit lane. So having a rough day from him as well. And QX Nemesis going through with 6 seconds of time penalties already.
Practice laps now.
But right about the halfway point, 14 of 29 laps. And now we've got the hard tires that'll easily get us to the end of the race. Johan's out on hards, although he pitted under that first safety car, so they should be really struggling towards the end. Might have to make another pit stop for him, and now it's just going to be trying to get ourselves back up the field. So now we're going to jump ahead, another lap and change, lap 15 of 29 on this one. We haven't really made too much inroads on the cars ahead, as there's yellow flag up ahead. It looks like one of the Red Bulls is in the inside wall, and a VSC is being called now, and a full safety car is being called. So full safety car is being called out for that incident, and that's going to catch us right up back with the field. So the rest of the field was in a perfect position to make the dive into the pit lanes. You can see the orange, the white, the red dots all coming in, and that is the Red Bull of Chem, who is out of this race. The Season 3 Division 2 champion, making his promotion up into Division 1, or return to Division 1 rather. He was in Division 1 earlier in his FRS career. But now we're going to see if we can once again try and get past some of these cars in the pits. You can see we're still having to live with that delta. Basically, once the safety car picks up the leaders, that delta goes away, and now again, boom, we're going to dump all of that extra electrical battery. See if we can get past some of these cars that are in the pit lanes. We're past El Gloverino, past Issei, and nearly catching up with Voki there. So we're up into 8th place after that safety car. So we do have some cars with fresher tires behind us as we're getting ready to restart this one once again. And there's the safety car pulled into the pit lanes, and the hammer is down. Full overtake on, full throttle. We're going to tuck into the slipstream of Voki here. We have Issei behind us. We've gotten a good launch now. closing a little bit. We're going to have a little look maybe to the inside. No, we're going to get on the brakes early, make sure we're safely through. We run right up to the back of Voki there. Bit of a twitch there, trying to keep the back end under control. Now Issei is all over the back of us. We have Voki and LC Fighter just up ahead. We're going to stay on the racing line and get on the brakes in a normal spot. And Issei doesn't hit the brakes in time and gets right into the back of us. That causes us to hit the back of Voki, and that is front wing damage for us and right to the back of the field. So after putting in a decent start of the stint with the hard tires, getting a little bit of fortune with the safety car to close us up, got slammed into the back of. Now, lap 18 of 29 here. We are in range now to grab a set of soft tires and go to the end. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to see those red striped soft tires that we saved from qualifying going on, a new front wing going on. So we will have some very quick tires. And if the field can get bunched back up, we may have the opportunity to potentially close right back through. But you can see, again, because of those safety cars in the bottom right, that fuel mix, 2.65 extra laps. So tons of extra weight we're carrying. Well, not tons, but we are carrying roughly, I would say, probably about 10, 12 kilos of extra fuel at this point. And seeing as it's only a 29 lap race, carrying 2.6 laps is an extra, basically 10% more than we'd want to carry. But here we are jumping ahead now, lap 19 of 29 as we've been pushing after coming out of the pit lanes. We set the DRS available. We set a purple sector 2 and 3 as Issei is going to slow up and give the position back. Feels a little bad about causing that incident. We should have been able to catch him though and pass him on the tires we were on already. We were on a quicker set on the softs as opposed to him on the mediums. But it was also, it was nice of him to give that position back, although unfortunately doesn't heal much just since we're running so far off the back of the field on these soft tires now, just having to kind of drive around. We are in a position still not crazy off. A safety car could get us back in, still with 9 laps left to go, but we are on a set of really quick tires, so we have the opportunity to, after setting those purple best of the session sector 2 and 3 on our out lap, definitely feeling like we have a very good opportunity to go for fastest lap of the race pretty easily. We were behind our personal best through sector 1, so not a big improvement in there, but we are getting a feel for the soft tires at this stage, and you can pitch it through turns 11 and 12 and hit the second sector split and purple once again, and we're up 1.1 seconds on our best lap. Our best lap was a 29.9, so 1.1 put us in the 28.8 ranges, and of course we could pick up a little bit of extra time on this one. So we're going to pitch it into the final corner here, get on the throttle, and now we're going to dump the battery. We're going to go for another fastest lap after this one as we cross the line and set the fastest lap of the race at 28.328, a 1.5 second improvement. And Voki has gone around in turn 1 up ahead of us. You can see he dropped right back to about only 6 seconds ahead and is carrying 5 seconds worth of time penalties. But we are going to go ahead and use a ton of our battery here while the tires are still fresh. We aren't going to have much opportunity to burn the fuel down and go for a really light fuel run at the end, but we do have those fresh soft tires on and a light enough car to push in. There we are, using that extra overtake down the main straight, a half a second improvement through sector 1, so we are already ahead of our previous fastest lap time. And it's just all about trying to set one that's going to be a bit out of reach for other drivers to try and take it away. At the very least, if the race stays as is, then we can keep that fastest lap point away from somebody that's in the top 10. But if we do get a late safety car, we have the opportunity to potentially get ourselves back into the points-paying positions. And who knows, just a DNF or something could get us right back in it. So we are pushing pretty hard at this stage of the race, coming through now, about to hit the second sector split. Lost a little bit of time off of our previous best, but we're still about half a second up on that previous best lap. So didn't make it quite as quick through sector 2 as we had before. And now sector 3, which is basically 2 corners and some strengths. So here we are. Pitch it in. We used a more electrical deployment than we did that last time down the straight between 13 and 14, and now dumping that battery, crossing the line at 27.8, another half second improvement, and Nemesis is into the pit. So we are up now in the points paying positions on penalties because Nemesis is behind us, carrying 6 seconds of his own, and we are within that 5-second penalty range to Voki. So as it stands where we are, having the opportunity to take home 2 points in this one. We're sitting virtually P10. We haven't picked up any track limits warnings, so it'd take quite a bit for us to pick a penalty up at the end stages of this race. And we are looking to bring home, after a shaky race, 2 points at this stage. But still 7 laps left to go in this one. A good opportunity. And now you can see as the tire comes right. But LC Fighter is out of the session. That Aston Martin is out. And another safety car has been called. So that is going to group us right back up with the pack. We have taken a fair bit of life out of the soft tires. But we are at least next to some people on the grid. And we are up to 9th now. So we are sitting there with the opportunity to go for a couple of more points. So here we are on the restart, getting the hammer down. We have Nemesis all over the back of us. Very racy, very aggressive. We're just trying to grab the slipstream off of Voki. Nemesis diving it around the outside and comes straight to the apex, kind of pinches us off, and we have to get onto the curbing. And he gets into the back of Voki and gets sideways. And no, we have made a mistake. I couldn't tell if Paul maybe got on the back of us a little bit. Such a tough section. Once we had the opportunity to close right back up with only 4 laps left to go in this one. A huge mistake there, as we really were just completely off camber and off kilter from the way Nemesis squeezed us over those curbs and trying to recover and avoid the half spin that he had there. But here we are jumping up ahead now, lap 28 of 29. Only 2 laps left to go in this one. We're just pushing as hard as we can to see if we can't get into the that 5-second range of Voki. We're not quite going to be there. Of course, Nemesis has been trying to fight his way up through, but he's carrying quite a bit of penalties. Already had 9 seconds when we had the incident a couple of laps ago.
Okay.
And so if he is just off screen there and we're able to close up a little bit, then it is. But oh, DPT Paul is out of the race. He's in the barriers. They're too close to the end of the race for there to be any safety car called. So now we are 1 position away from getting back into the points paying positions. A yellow flag's up ahead, and there's an Aston Martin slow. QX Nemesis is slow through turn 10. It looks like he's had a spin on the exit. Now you can see him just recovering to track now, and now with the 9 seconds of penalties that he's carrying, we are right in that wheelhouse to take P10 from him, closing up him, deciding not to have an attack on him. He's been so aggressive with us and other cars, and that's certainly what's caused the mistake already. We are going to just kind of let those 9 seconds of penalties drop him behind us.
Bringing home 2 points for the team.
And as he pushed too hard there, you can see him go right off the edge there in turn 13, and it's an interesting way to go off to the left there. Usually you spin it off to the right, but now we are once again back in that 10th place. So right where we were before that safety car happened, and right where we got bumped back down from. But looking up ahead, we can see MJ Povey and Issei just right on about that 10-second margin fighting with us now. I will be submitting that incident with Issei getting into the back of us and hitting us pretty hard. We'll see if the stewards decide to penalize him. It could be for as hard as the contact, potentially a 10-second penalties worth of time, just because it wasn't even an overtaking attempt. So I'm going to try and stay within that 10-second margin of him over the course of this last lap. Not holding my breath that they will make that determination post-race, but it's best to put yourself in that opportunity. But as it stands, we're still nobody able to get on and take that fastest lap away from us. So we are sitting 10th. We are carrying that 1 point for 10th place, and after quite a battle of attrition, also carrying that fastest lap point in our pocket as well. So not exactly the ideal season opener for us, especially when we were running as high as 2nd place before our first pit stop after that first safety car. So we could have had an opportunity for a pretty good result on hand there if we had maybe not had that incident with Paul right at the beginning. As Brenschel comes across the line to take his first FRS win of his career. And I believe up front you can see the 2 red dots of the 2 Ferraris, so a double Ferrari podium up ahead as well. And we do manage to stay just within that 10-second margin to Issei, so we'll see what the stewards have to say with that. But as it comes across the line on the day, 2 points, P10, and the fastest lap of the race. But there it is. El Glaverino and Habs fan Nick both standing on the podium there. Habs fan Nick picked up his first podium of his career last season with a race win in Japan. El Glaverino picking up his first podium of his career, and Brenschel his first FRS win. So plenty of first and second timers here on the podium, so definitely a good result. Surprising to see MJ Povey struggling, just wasn't quite on the pace. Ended up coming in P7, but the final running is Brenschel, Habs fan Nick, El Glaverino, Pepmeister, Johan, Stanier, MJ Povey, Issei, Voki, ourselves, and then Nemesis And DPT Paul, LC Fighter, Chem, Backwas, and Cryptic all out of this race. So quite a bit of attrition in this one at the tail end. So it's definitely a tough race. We are going to be headed off to Austria next. So we'll see. There's a little bit less opportunity for alternate strategies around that track. It should be pretty much a straightforward medium soft or soft medium till the end there. So we will see what we can make do there. But it's good to get back underway in the season. It's been a while since we've been at the helm of the wheel there, and definitely our longest off season. But picking up with the calendar there in the second half, you have Singapore, Japan, US, as I was saying with that sprint event. We are going to the Zandvoort in the Netherlands. Then we have Australia, and closing it out with the season finale in Brazil. We are headed to Austria next weekend, so thank you guys for joining me this time. I will continue to try and make the both the full race replay up on the channel and also this edited one down, but I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.